Hi there, my name is Ross Pelton, and I brand myself as the Natural Pharmacist. I want to introduce you today to my 4-hour online seminar on natural therapies for depression and anxiety. But before I get started, I'd like to say a few words about my background and how I happened to get interested in this topic. In addition to being a pharmacist, I'm also a certified clinical nutritionist. I've written 10 books on a variety of health topics, and I'm also a health educator. One of my specialties that I talk about on my website is the fact that I'm bilingual. The two languages that I speak are English and science. I have a unique ability in being able to take scientific information and express it in such a way that it's easy to understand for the general public. Over the years, one of the things I've learned with my studies in health is that most health problems can and should be treated with natural therapies. And in most cases, natural therapy should be the first line of approach for treatment. Prescription drugs should be a last resort, not the first resort. A number of years ago, in the late 1990s, I did research and ended up writing a book titled The Drug-Induced Nutrient Depletion Handbook. This book is out of print now, and it's kind of become a classical reference book for physicians, pharmacists, and other health professionals. And then a couple of years later, I wrote, along with my co-author, Jim Laval, a second book, The Nutritional Cost of Drugs, which deals with the same information, but is more geared to the general public, going into more educational information about the nutrients involved and the health problems associated with nutrient depletions. A good deal of the information in my seminar comes from the information related to drug-induced nutrient depletions. Now in this slide, I'm showing the serotonin pathway on the left and the dopamine norepinephrine neurotransmitter on the right. Both of these neurotransmitter pathways are intimately involved in regulating moods and emotions and mental state. In fact, you can see there's a fairly large number of nutrients that are required for these metabolic steps to convert tryptophan into 5-HTP and then into serotonin, and for the amino acid tyrosine to eventually be converted into dopamine and norepinephrine or noradrenaline. In this particular slide, I have highlighted in red the nutrients that are required for the production of the neurotransmitters and the various classes of drugs that people take that deplete these nutrients. So you can see there's a fairly wide range of nutrient depletions that are happening from multiple different drugs, and in many cases, people are taking more than one drug that are depleting the same nutrient, which can increase your risk to depression. Another major topic, a major section of my 4-hour online seminar, I present various controversies in psychiatry. Things like the serotonin hypothesis and the chemical imbalance theory are really in question or being questioned by a lot of psychiatrists and people in the medical field. And in presenting the controversies in psychiatry, I'm presenting the views and opinions of many key opinion leaders and thought leaders in the field of medicine and psychiatry. So I'm not just expressing my own opinion here. There are many people that think that the prescription antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs are causing a great deal of harm and are not the correct way to treat these conditions. I spend a great deal of time in this 4-hour seminar talking about a wide range of natural therapies for depression. I want people to know, first of all, how dangerous the prescription drugs are. They cause a great deal of side effects, and some of these side effects are long-term and possibly not reversible. The studies haven't been done to really determine if some of these side effects are reversible. So in addition to talking about the side effects and making sure that people understand the side effects of antidepressant drugs, I also spend a great deal of time talking about a wide range of natural therapies for depression. I really want people to know that there are safe, effective, natural therapies to treat depression. And then I also talk about natural therapies for anxiety and go into a great deal of detail about the benzodiazepines, which are the primary class of drugs that are used to treat anxiety. Benzodiazepines also have some pretty serious side effects, and I want people to know that there are really some very effective, safe, natural therapies to treat anxiety also. In my seminar, I also present a pretty new theory about another reason, another proposed mechanism for some damage in the brain that can contribute to depression. It's called the bundle damage theory of depression. And this theory suggests that over time, for a variety of reasons, the myelin sheath, which is the insulation that protects nerves, gets damaged. And when the myelin sheath gets damaged, there's a dramatic decrease in the speed with which nerve impulses can be transmitted in the brain. So I spent a good deal of time in the seminar explaining to people how and why this damage occurs to the myelin sheath, and then giving directions on what can be done to slow down the progression of this damage and actually heal the problem, to turn it around and correct the problem. I also spent a good deal in my seminar talking about the new information is starting to unfold on the gut-brain communication. We're starting to understand a great deal of information about how important the bacteria in your gastrointestinal tract are. It's called your microbiome, and the good bacteria in your gastrointestinal tract communicate with your brain and actually help to regulate moods and emotions and the production of brain chemicals that are involved with regulating moods and emotions. And one thing I emphasize, all people who have depression and anxiety are dealing with gut toxicity. And when you have gut toxicity, you have brain toxicity. Toxicity can occur from bad bacteria in your intestinal tract, and it can also be occurring from toxins in the food and from the environment. So you have to clean up that toxicity situation. And if you are depressed or have anxiety, you probably also have inflammation in your gastrointestinal tract. And when you have gut inflammation, you also have brain inflammation. And this inflammation and toxicity in the gastrointestinal tract damages the microvilli, which are the tiny little hair-like structures that are involved in digesting and absorbing your food. So in order to correct depression and anxiety, one of the things that has to happen is that you have to heal your gut. And I spend a good deal of time talking about probiotics and what a quality probiotic is and how to really regulate and improve your gastrointestinal tract and your good bacteria in the population of your microbiota. So I invite you to go online and enroll in my 4-hour course, Natural Therapies for Depression and Anxiety. We have the link to the course posted below this slide. Anybody that has depression and anxiety, you or any of your loved ones, I encourage you to take a look at my course because there's some very important information that can be utilized in terms of natural therapies for treating depression and anxiety. And it's really important to understand how damaging the prescription drugs for those conditions can be. So that's my introduction to this course. I welcome you online to Natural Therapies for Depression and Anxiety. Depression.